Hello and welcome to BYJU'S IAS. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article of discussion is about the Ulhas River. Why are we discussing this? That was because the river was full yesterday. The region around this particular river was inundated with water, and what we see is water logging on the railway tracks. That is when the Navy, the Army and the Air Force were employed for rescue operations where people were stuck in the train in this flooded area and had to be rescued. Now let us try and understand some of the key important facts with respect to this Ulhas River and what are the reasons for overflowing of this particular river. This Ulhas River is a west flowing river in the state of Maharashtra. So kindly remember this. It flows in the state of Maharashtra and can be a prospective question in your preliminary examination. This river originates in the valley north of the Rajmachi Hills, and this river also receives majority of the water during the southwest monsoon. As a result, as this particular river rises near the Rajmachi Hills and flows in its pathway, it flows through the region of Badlapur, Navi Mumbai as well as Kalyan Dombi Valley, and this river provides drinking water facilities to all these important regions. When you look at the current context, what happened in this particular region was there are certain townships like Kalyan, Ulhasnagar and other regions in and around this particular river which saw excessive rainfall, and the rainfall was as much as 200 mm in this particular region. So because this region saw enormous amount of rainfall in a single day, there was overflowing of river Ulhas, and that is the prime reason regions like Ulhasnagar were severely inundated. So the question now is, why is that this particular river started overflowing? What are the major causes for overflowing of this particular river? So the major reason for overflowing of this Ulhas River is the cause of pollution. The Ulhas River is one of the more polluted rivers in the Mumbai metropolitan region. In fact, a number of petitions have also been filed with respect to this particular river in the past as well. What happens is, as this particular river flows in its particular pathway, there are number of industries on its pathway which are just dumping all the waste of the industries into this particular river. This particular industrial effluent that is being dumped into this particular river is the major cause of pollution. Apart from the industrial effluents that are dumped by the industries, people are also a major problem. Why? Let's say for example, there is a particular pathway that a river flows in. What happens? The people directly dump all the waste into this particular river. So what happens? There is choking up of this particular river. Once it starts choking, once there is plastic and other types of pollutants that are present in this particular river, the river has no path that it can take. As a result, what happens is it creates a barrier or an impediment, and when this happens, this particular river's path is closed, and that is when overflowing happens outside its particular pathway. That is why overflowing has been the resultant, and now it is reaching houses as well. So people have been casting their waste into the drains, directly choking them in spite of authorities cleaning them year after year. So pollution has been the major problem as to why there is overflowing in this particular region. Apart from pollution, there is another major cause as well. What is it? One is because of the population explosion. So what happens when there is population increase in this particular region? These people will have to be accommodated with certain water. And what do we build? We build the construction of dams in this particular region. So because there is densification of the population, more and multiple dams are constructed across this particular river. This has also resulted in overflowing as well. In fact, because of this population, number of riverbeds have been encroached upon. In fact, this particular region has also become a dump yard of the municipal waste as well. Another important factor is that as population has seen an increase, this will have to see a commensurate increase with respect to providing of amenities in this particular region. But in fact, when you look at one of the surveys that was conducted by the Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development, that is MMRDA Authority, in the year 2015, they said only 59% of the waste was treated and rest of the waste was not treated, which means that none of the urban local bodies were able to meet up the benchmarks that was laid with respect to collection of the wastewater. So this is a major survey which says that all the wastewater that is produced in the household has been directly dumped into this particular river. So what is the way forward? And overall of entire municipal amenities in these regions will have to be taken up in a plan in a holistic way, so that these people do not dump directly all the waste into this particular river. And what we also need is that pollution control mechanisms will have to be initiated by the local bodies, is what this article all about. This article here is speaking about Securitypedia. What is this? This is nothing but an online encyclopedia or a website which is brought about by the Central Industrial Security Force. This is one of the central paramilitary forces, and this was established in the year 1969. The minute this was established, the major objective of this particular force was to give cover to the public sector enterprises. So there were large number of public sector enterprises. These public sector enterprises was the backbone for the Indian economy. This had to be protected from the external security threats. That is when this particular organization was raised. This was during the initial phase, but after 1990s we have opened the gates of economy. What it means is we have entered the LPG era. Now what this organization also does is it provides security cover to critical infrastructure installations of the country in diverse areas. Initially, when it was established, it was only for the PSUs, and currently this particular organization and force will provide security cover to the critical infrastructure installations. So what is the job role of this organization? This is currently providing security cover to the nuclear installations, space establishments, airports, seaports, power plant, sensitive government buildings, as well as heritage monuments as well. What is the current context? As a security organization, one needs to evolve continuously so that it is able to meet the growing threats emanating from multiple forces. Hence, an upgradation of the processes, machinery and technology is a must in order to ensure there is constant evolvement and there is upgradation. That is why the CISF has come up with a tool which is called as the Securitypedia. So what is the Securitypedia? It incorporates a wide gamut of security related practices from across the globe. So what happens is this particular technology upgradation is a constant process. There are a number of countries which have been evolving as well. So these countries have come up with new processes, machinery, mechanisms to overcome multiple threats that are emanating from multiple forces. So all these important tools, machines and processes from multiple countries will be collected, and this will be put up on a single forum, and that single forum is what is called as the Securitypedia. So the CISF has established a technical lab at the National Industrial Security Academy, and this will be based in Hyderabad, and this will maintain and update all the technical knowledge about the latest innovations in the field of safety and security that can be used in places like airports, government offices and so on. So what happens in this particular development is that they will build up what is called as the technical lab. This technical lab that CISF is planning to come up with will be a research and development laboratory. So it will have the technocrats, it will have all those research and developmental personnel which will add value, which will have constant interface with multiple security agencies, research institutions and other professional agencies, so that they would be able to enhance on the technological upgradation. Another feature of Securitypedia is what is called as the CISF tube. So what is it? It is one of the places in this Securitypedia where all those personnel working for the CISF would be able to access certain videos. What are these videos that we are speaking about? Let's say for example example, there is a security personnel, there is a soldier, there is a police cop who is working for the CISF. So they are not having any idea what is your job role. So they might be employed in the airports, they might be employed in the seaports, they might be employed in the critical infrastructure zones as well. So how do they know what is the kind of job that they do? That is when they would be able to access a particular video. So this video will give him an information about what is his job role when he is going to that particular place. So he would be able to have a mental preparation for his job role that he is going to be performing in the future. So all those videos related to operation of various arms, equipment that have been used by the CISF are all easily available under the CISF tube. So this will be posted regularly on the website, and they would be able to access all types of videos when it comes to its functionality. So depending upon the outreach as well as the feedback that CISF has got periodically, the Securitypedia will also be applied to other paramilitary forces as well. What is the significance of this particular tool? This particular tool will have wide range of experiences, knowledge and information that will help the force. How? Because there is knowledge that is coming up from multiple countries and it is present in a single cloud, single umbrella. This is a source of information as well as technological upgradation. Another major significant aspect is that when you look at the security architecture currently, it's a top-down approach, which means there are people in the higher rank. These people actually deliver the message, and the people in the lower rank of the hierarchy just implement it. What is so unique about this particular Securitypedia is, irrespective of which hierarchy you belong, whether it's the top, the middle or the lower rank, in case they can actually give out their experiences, they would also be able to contribute to the expertise as well. So what this means is that the CISF officials can also contribute by writing blogs on the professional experiences that they have seen, they have witnessed, and this will also be present on the official website so that all these experiences can be taken up, and in case there are any defects and lacunae, this will also be addressed as well. So the major advantage is it will provide wide range of experiences and information under a single platform, and the idea of hierarchy in the security architecture is also broken. Now let's look into the next article. This article here as a whole is not important for us, but what is important for us is this particular region of Fazilka. Why? It is this particular Fazilka which will act as an endpoint when it comes to the TAPI pipeline. So what is this TAPI pipeline? This is a gas pipeline that will run all the way from Turkmenistan to India. So this will go through the regions of Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and ultimately end in India across a particular region of Fazilka across India and Pakistan. So kindly remember, the region of Fazilka across the India-Pakistan region is where this TAPI pipeline is going to end. So the TAPI pipeline will run from the gas fields in Turkmenistan through Afghanistan and Pakistan and ultimately end in India. So the start is from this Galkinch gas field in the region of Turkmenistan, and this will then be constructed along the Herat as well as the Kandahar region of Afghanistan. It will then move through the Quetta and Multan in Pakistan and ultimately end in Fazilka. So kindly remember, the final destination of this pipeline will be in the Indian town of Fazilka, which is near the borders of India and Pakistan. So as a part of assignment, please do read about this TAPI pipeline, write an answer for the question that will also be posted at the end of the session. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about Deep Ocean Mission. This is a major initiative of the Ministry of Earth Sciences under the Government of India. What is the major objective of this mission? This mission has a major objective of helping India improve its ocean research. So what does this mission basically want to do? How does it want to conduct its operations? This will incorporate number of technologies like the deep sea mining, underwater vehicles, underwater robotics, and it will also explore the ocean climate change phenomenon as well. Just like how we have ISRO, which will look and explore the space region, This particular mission will also explore all that is required to extract economics from deep ocean. What this article further says is that India has been currently allotted a site of about 75,000 square kilometer in the central Indian Ocean basin, and this has been guaranteed by the United Nations International Seabed Authority for exploitation of the polymetallic nodules. So what are these polymetallic nodules? These are also called as the manganese nodules. What you have to understand is you have something called as the seabed. In this seabed, what you will see is number of rocks that are scattered. These rocks that are scattered on the seabed may contain number of minerals like iron, manganese, nickel and cobalt. So what are these polymetallic nodules? These are nothing but rocks which are scattered in the seabed, and then when they are extracted, we would be able to get minerals like iron, manganese, nickel as well as cobalt. The key factor that this article says is that even if we are able to extract 10% of this particular reserve that is present in the seabed of India, we would be able to meet the energy requirement for the next 100 years. So the estimated polymetallic nodule resource is at about 380 million tons. Even if we are able to extract 10% of it, we would be able to manage for about 100 years is what the article is trying to say. So what is the significance of this deep ocean mission? India currently has what is called as the blue economy. Blue economy is nothing but one of the objectives of the government of India, where they want to have sustainable use of the ocean resources for the economic development of the country, which means that all the resources that are present in the ocean, this will have to be explored so that this can be used in the economic development of India. So the mission will also help in leveraging the blue economy for the country's overall economic growth as well as development. Another important factor is that apart from extracting all the minerals that are present in this particular region, what we are also giving rise to is for the research and development, which means the R&D will also improve over a period of time. This will have high impact on the research, and this will also give importance to the manpower development as well. So apart from the minerals that we are extracting, this will ultimately result in R&D as well as manpower improvement. Now let's also look into some of the key facts which can be asked in your preliminary examination with respect to the International Seabed Authority. The International Seabed Authority is an autonomous international organization that was established under the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The ISA is a body set up to regulate exploration and exploitation of marine non-living resources of oceans in the international water. So this particular organization has the responsibility of regulating all those activities with respect to the seabed mining beyond the limits of the national jurisdiction. So this was established in the year 1994. So kindly remember these key facts. The authority has its headquarters in Kingston in Jamaica. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about 3 military logistic pacts which India is planning to take up with 3 important countries, and that includes Japan, Russia as well as Australia. The military logistics agreement with Japan is called by a name which is called as acquisition and cross servicing agreement. How does this agreement work? In case India does happen to enter into this agreement, what are the advantages for India when it enters into the signature? The Indian Navy, after entering into this particular agreement, would get access to the Japanese facilities for maintenance, would get access to the fuel as well as servicing. How? Let's say for example, Indian Navy has its ships which are conducting certain exercises or humanitarian assistance in the Pacific Ocean. During this particular conduction, they may have certain technical glitches, or they may see that the fuel is out of stock as well. This will require immediate assistance. This will require certain servicing that has to be accommodated immediately. It would be ludicrousy for the Indian Navy to come all the way from Pacific Ocean back to India to get this particular servicing done in its hometown. So what happens? India enters into an agreement with Japan. So all those technical glitches, refueling of fuel will be taken up in the Japanese ports. So currently what this particular accessibility is that in case of any technical glitch, in case of not having enough fuel and will require servicing, then India would enter into an agreement with Japan for providing all these temporary provisions. At the same time, the Japanese ships similarly would get access to the fuel servicing at major Indian naval bases. Apart from this, the acquisition and cross servicing agreement will also permit Indian Navy access the Japanese base in the Djibouti. At the same time, the Japanese forces will also be able to access the Andaman and Nicobar that is located in the Indian Ocean, which is close by to the Malacca Strait. So on one side, India is getting access to the Japanese base in the Djibouti, and Japanese are getting the access to the Andaman and Nicobar. Now the question may arise as to why India and Japanese will have to do it. This is because they will have to balance the Chinese growth rate in the Indian Ocean region, and this can also act as a counter to China's expanding presence in the Indian Ocean region. So once the commencement of all these negotiations under the acquisition and cross servicing agreement takes place, this will act as a strategic material in order to enhance the bilateral security as well as defense cooperation. So India and Japan would like to play a leading role in promoting peace and tranquility in the Indian Ocean region as well as in the Pacific Ocean. That is why this particular tool has been initiated. At the same time, when it comes to Russia, this particular agreement is called as the Agreement on Reciprocal Logistical Support. So what happens under this particular agreement is that Indian Navy would be able to access fuel, would be able to get servicing as well as maintenance similar to that of the agreement as espoused under the Japanese agreement. At the same time, the Russians would also be able to use ports like the Bombay port, the Vishakhapatnam as well as other ports as well. So the major advantage is this will also help them in exercises. This will also help them in maintenance as well as refueling. The major part of this agreement is that the agreement gives India access to some of the Russian facilities across the Arctic region. In fact, when India happens to get access to the ports in the Arctic region, Russia has also assured that India would be able to get access to the energy resources in this particular region of Arctic. So what this agreement will also give rise to is the growing evidence of India as well as Russian relationship. In spite of all pressure from United States of America, India has been one of those rare nations that has been able to make strategic agreements both with United States of America as well as Russia. So in case this becomes successful, then this is what India will see, one of the nations which will have strategic agreements both with United States of America as well as Russia in spite of extreme pressure from United States of America. Previously, what we have also seen is that India has entered into agreement with United States of America as well, and that is in the form of logistics exchange memorandum of understanding. So since this particular agreement is prospective in nature, we will take up this particular initiative once again when we have clear set of evidences. But as of now, this is all we have to understand in respect to this article. Moving on, let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about senescent cells. One of the most significant aspects of biological process behind aging is what is called as cellular senescence. So what is this cellular senescence? What happens is when we are in the youthful stage, when we are healthy, there are certain amount of damaged cells. There are damaged tissues as well. So what happens? Because we are healthy and youthful, there is cell division that takes place. All the damaged ones will immediately be replaced. But during the old age, this division of cells does not take place. As a result, the damaged cells are not replaced. So that particular period where the cells have stopped, the normal biological process of dividing the cells is what is called as the senescent cells. So what this cell basically means is that they would not be able to divide after a particular age. What this article currently says is that new research has come up which says that senescent cells stop producing or stop dividing only because they stop producing nucleotides. So the minute they stop producing the nucleotides, the building block of DNA, that is when senescence take place. When young cells were prevented from producing nucleotides, the cells become what is called as senescent. Senescent. The findings have the potential to help with aging and related diseases. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about one of the drugs called as the dilute graver. This is one of the drugs that is usually used as a medication for treating HIV as well as the AIDS. Also remember, this is on the list of essential medicines according to the World Health Organization. What this article currently says is that when you look at the initial studies, when a mother has consumed this particular drug in order to prevent HIV or AIDS for her children, it led to what is called as the neural tube defects. What is this neural tube defects? It means when the baby is out, this would have suffered from the brain as well as the spinal cord injury. But current studies also say when this particular drug has been consumed, no such effects have been taken place. So what this article currently says is that this particular DTG is more effective, easier to take and has fewer side effects than alternative drugs. So kindly remember that this dilute graver is one of the medications that is required to address the issue of HIV/AIDS. So moving on, let's look into the next article. This article here is factual in nature. There was one of the survey that was conducted by the Wildlife Survey Organization with respect to the flora as well as fauna. And what they have come to a conclusion is that 4 species of fauna, that is animals, and species of flora have gone extinct in India. Another key important factor is that India is home to about 11.5% of the flora in the world. And according to this particular article, more than double the number of plants have disappeared from the wild than birds, mammals as well as amphibians. When it comes to animals and birds in this particular article, it speaks about 2 important birds. One is the pink-headed duck, the other one is the Himalayan quail. Kindly remember, the IUCN status of both is critically endangered. So this can be a prospective question in your preliminary examination. So what we need to understand when it comes to the pink-headed duck is that this was found in parts of the Gangetic plains of India, Bangladesh as well as Myanmar. Because numerous searches have failed to provide any proof of their existence, that is why this particular article says that they have gone extinct in India. And another important bird is the Himalayan quail, and this was last reported in the year 1876. This species was known to occur in 2 locations. One is in Uttarakhand, the other is on the northwest of India. And when it comes to plants, this particular survey also says that 18 species of plants, 4 non-flowering and 14 flowering have also gone extinct as well. So this will be asked only from your preliminary perspective. So kindly remember these names. Now let's look into the next article. This article, why does India say no to Kashmir mediation? We have been discussing about this particular issue since 23rd of this particular month. So kindly look into our earlier CNAs for this particular issue. Let's look into the next article. This article is speaking about the BS6 norms. We have discussed about it on 26th of April 2019 as a second topic. So kindly look into it for the same. Let's look into the next article. This article with respect to Niti Aayog guidelines ignored in airport privatization and what is zero budget natural farming will be discussed on our economy this week. So kindly wait for the video. Now let's look into some of the practice questions. Which of the following is the best description of the term Asian Premier often seen in news? The answer to this is extra charges being collected by the OPEC countries from Asian countries when selling oil in comparison to the Western countries. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements about Inner Line Permit. Inner Line Permit is an official document issued by the Government of India to allow inward travel of Indian citizens into a protected area for a limited period. It is issued for travel purpose only. It is operational in Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya as well as Nagaland. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 1 and 2 only. Why? Because it is not Meghalaya but instead it is Mizoram. So kindly remember this fact. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are correctly matched? Bangaram Island is in Andaman, Sadhu Bet Island is in Gujarat, Sagar Island is in West Bengal. The correct code is, the answer to this is 2 and 3 only. Why? Because Bangaram Island is not in Andaman, but it is in Lakshadweep. So kindly look into the map for the explanation. Now let's look into the previous year question paper. When the alarm of your smartphone rings in the morning, you wake up and tap it to stop the alarm, which causes your geyser to be switched on automatically. The smart mirror in your bathroom shows the day's weather and also indicates the level of water in your overhead tank. After you take some groceries from your refrigerator for making breakfast, it recognizes the shortage of stock in it and places an order for the supply of fresh grocery items. When you step out of your house and lock the door, all lights, fans, geysers and AC machines get switched off automatically. On your way to office, your car warns you about the traffic congestions ahead and suggests an alternative route. And if you are late for a meeting, it sends a message to your office accordingly. In the context of emerging communication technology, which of the following term best applies to the above scenario? The answer to this is Internet of Things. Now let's look into the mains practice question. The TAPI project will not only bring prosperity for the member countries but also open the gates for future mega projects that would ensure prosperity for the entire region. But regional rivalry and instability has been the major hurdle to this particular project. Explain. What is BS6 emission norms? How is BS6 different from BS4? How will it impact the consumers and manufacturers? Please write all your answers on the comment section so that we from the BYJU'S can evaluate, and also the peer review amongst your friends can also be initiated as well. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.